We have an important announcement. There's a church business meeting coming up, and I think, David, are you going to talk a little bit about?
Good morning, everyone, and happy Sabbath. I have a special privilege this morning, and I have to share that with Michelle Cloutier. The two of us have been asked to lead a fundraising effort for our new school building. We used to call it a building. I would call it an addition now. That's sort of where we're headed. And so we've agreed to do that, and we are going to be rolling out some information. We have some people who've been around forever that know everything, and we have some people that are relatively new to this church and probably don't know very much about our school program. So we're going to do our best to try to communicate what's going on. Let me ask you a question. A little over 5 years ago, we had a church business meeting, and we, as a group, we voted enthusiastically to buy the property next to our church property, the house and the property. How many people were present at that meeting? Quite a few, all right? I don't know if you remember exactly. That was, in my mind, that was a real fantastic experience. We felt God's leading. We talked about how God had led us to make the property even available, how we had been able to make an offer on that and get it accepted, and a lot of miraculous things. If you'd like to know more about that, there is a sheet that tells that story, one page back on the bulletin board in the foyer, if you'd like to glance at that. It is a very good story. Pastor Fred Calkins was our interim pastor at that time, and he led us in I think a joyful vote. And then after we voted, we decided, well, we need to raise some money too, and that fell in place immediately within a few minutes after that vote. We made pledges, and a little bit of background history. We had actually made an offer and had been accepted on that house before we had that business meeting. But we did have a way to get out, but we trusted that God was leading us, and we actually did come through with it as a congregation to complete that purchase. So we're now 5 years later, and there's been a lot of behind-the-scenes studies, some architectural designs and things like that. But the reality is, we did some checking. Our church has never voted in business session for this building project. We voted to buy the property, but we have never voted to actually go ahead with a building project or even to do some preliminary steps on that. So that's going to change. Friday evening, August 28th, it's been announced in our bulletin several Sabbaths. We beefed up the announcement a little bit for today. 6:30, that's a Friday evening. We are going to change that. We are going to vote on whether to proceed with the building project, the next step. So that is extremely important. As you can imagine, we would like to recreate that spirit that we had at the meeting 5 years ago. That means that we don't want just 7 or 8 church board members at that meeting. It's not a real convenient time, Friday evening. We would like every member of our church family there at that meeting, because this is a very important decision. Involves the future of Adventist education here in Midland, our community. Involves the future use of our activity center, which we've been sacrificing to allow the school to meet in there. And it's hugely important for the future ministry and possibly even the survival of our Midland Seventh-day Adventist Church. It's also a large financial commitment to do that. So what I want to emphasize is this is very much a team project. This is not the church board or the school board or a few people saying, oh, we should do this. We need the full church as a team with great team spirit and trust in the Lord to make this decision. And as we do that, we also have to think about fundraising. I'm not going to speak about that today, but I will comment that that is part of being a team effort. So the next 4 church services, there's one missing because we'll be up at Campus Savo, you're going to hear a little bit more about this. When you talk about fundraising and team building, it's all about communication. I like to say more communication. Everybody is a member of our church family, and even other people need to understand what we're doing, why we're doing it, and as a group, we will make a decision whether we go forward or not. I hope we decide to go forward, but that's a team decision, not my decision, not a pastor decision. That's all of us together. Some things will be communicated over the next few weeks. A little bit of the history of our school. Some people may not know too much about that. Why do we need a new building, or actually a new addition? Why do we even need that? What do we need to do with our activity center? I remember Aaron, we had a Hot Wheels tournament in that building because we had enough space to do that. I would love to have another Hot Wheels tournament in that room. Nothing against the school being there, that's necessary, but we have some uses for that. We used to have regular agape feasts with a table set up as a cross. We had evangelistic meetings with nice tables and lamps and white tablecloths on there, nice cozy atmosphere. Every year we'd have an evangelistic meeting in that room. And we've really been limited because of our commitment to ministry of the school. We're also going to go, how much money do we have to raise? How much will this project cost? How much we have on hand and how are we going to pay for it? Those are all topics that we'll cover in the next few Sabbaths. And so stay tuned for more communication over the next, it'll be over 5 weeks before we have that meeting. But the real message today is two things: commit to be at that meeting, and two, commit to be a part of this team. This is a tremendous opportunity for us as a church family to grow together, to have a common goal, and to really move forward with the Lord's leading. So thank you, and stay tuned for more on future Sabbaths.
Well, thank you, David. It's exciting to hear and to see, the progress, and it looks like we're getting to the place where we might actually see, some more things going, so that's exciting.